Hi, this is Noelle, and this is a prenatal yin yoga class. The practice is designed for all trimesters of pregnancy and will help make space for your baby, as well as encourage rest, relaxation, and surrender. Throughout the practice, we'll focus on our breathing, particularly on a slow, full, and deep inhalation, which mimics our ability to take in nourishment and energy from our environment and transform it into something which nurtures us. This is yin, and pregnancy is a yin time of our lives where we are growing, nourishing, and resting so that we can charge up our vital chi in order to get through a very yang, transformative experience, which is birth. It's our ability to inhale, rest, and surrender, which gives us the strength to move forward through life and to get things we need to get done, to get them done. So as we begin here in Child's Pose, I'd like you to let go of any tensions that with every feel in your body, release opening the need to hold yourself your body, and let your body get heavy your ribs into the mat. Notice your inhale and how with every long, deep inhale is surrendering a little bit deeper, a little bit heavier into the ground. Very slowly, we're going to come up to all fours with your knees below your hips and your wrists below your shoulders. And we'll just take some gentle cat-cows with an inhale, letting your belly sag, opening up the front of your body, and then with your exhale, rounding the back. Inhaling and exhale. One more time, traditional cat-cow. And then we're just going to let it become organic. So you can bring your hips out to the side, maybe up front. Inhale, moving forward. Exhale, moving back. Just move with your breath. Get into all the sticky parts of your body. Maybe it's your shoulders, maybe it's your hip flexors. And just move organically in a way that feels good to you. Just warming up. Moving with your breath. And then come back to table when you're done. And we're going to come to our first posture, which is just an easy seat. Sit with one leg in front of the other, maybe up on a cushion or a block, or both sit bones on the ground. And just lean your head to one side, whatever side you want to start with. Place the opposite hand on the ground, and then maybe reach whatever side you're leaning to, that hand, and let it rest on the opposite ear. We're not pulling or forcing our neck, we're just letting the weight of our hand or the weight of the head fall to the side and let gravity do all the work. Breathing deep. Remember to focus on that inhale Feel the belly expand, feel the rib cage expand. Feel the neck open up. And then we're going to slowly, with the help of your hand that's been resting on your ear, push your head back into place so that you don't strain your neck. Come back to center, maybe switch the crossing of your legs. And then lean your head to the opposite side. So whatever way your head is leaning, that opposite arm is touching the ground, so you get a nice stretch, and then perhaps you put that opposite hand on your ear and let it rest. And just enjoy this stretch, enjoy this moment, and enjoy the silence of your breath. And then when we're done with this side, you're going to put your head back on straight with the help of your hand. And then inhale your shoulders up to your ears, and exhale, just let them drop down with gravity. Inhale up, and let them drop down. Inhale up, and drop. And then we're going to move into the next posture, which is Baddha Konasana, with your heels and your feet, the whole bottoms of your feet touching each other, and then scoot that as close as you can to your pelvis. Lean forward as much as you can with your sit bones still on the ground, and then just round forward. Palms up, so you're in an act or a mudra of surrender. And then sometimes it feels nice to put a block on your forehead. Get a little acupressure right there in between the eyebrows. And with the feet closer to your pelvis like this, we're opening up the front of the pelvic bones. A little later, we'll widen the stance and open up the back of the pelvic bones. But for now, this is where we are, and just let your body steep. Perhaps your head gets heavier, you go a little bit deeper. And don't forget to breathe, focusing on a deep in-breath that opens up the back of the body, the front of the body, the ribs, gives breath to your child. And see how that transfers into a long, slow, relaxed exhale. And then very slowly flip your hands over, push yourself back up to straight. And we're going to attempt the back of our pelvis opening. So we're scooting our feet, they're still touching each other. Scooting the feet out so that your legs look like a diamond when you're looking down at yourself. Perhaps your head rests in your feet, or you put a bolster or a block in between your feet and legs again. Let yourself get heavy. Feel the subtle difference in your pelvis and in your hip bones. Close your eyes. Maybe you can hear your breath resonating, bouncing from the mat. Deep, slow inhalations. And then relaxed, slow and complete exhalations. And then slowly walk yourself back up. Your shoulders are above your hips. And get ready to move into the next posture, a modified Janu Shirshasana, where we're focusing on the back of our extended leg. So pick whatever leg you want to start with first. Bend the opposite leg. Place the ankle on the extended straight leg and your knee out to the side on a block or a cushion. There should be a nice little donut hole there that you've made with your leg in that figure 4 position. And then you're just going to round, folding forward with your eyes closed. Relax your ankle and your toes. Relax your neck. If your arms are straight because you're holding yourself up and you're not folding all the way down, it's okay to let your elbows lock in these yin postures. And this is just a really subtle stretch into the hamstring, which tends to get locked up in pregnancy. Oftentimes we're sitting more, perhaps sleeping more. And then it's all about the breath. Let gravity hold you, let the earth hold you, completely surrendering into the posture. Inhaling deeply with intention, and then exhaling with surrender. The deeper you inhale, the more long, slow, and intentional your exhale will be. And This is a tool that you can cultivate and use for when you're in labor as well, because as we go through the waves of contractions and the waves of emotions and everything that we're going to be feeling, the distractions, focusing on our in-breath, closing our eyes allows for that wave to pass a little bit more smoothly. And then we're going to slowly walk ourselves back up, remove the block, unbend the knee, and switch legs. So we're making a figure four, the ankle above the knee, on the thigh. Rest the knee on a bolster or on a block. Belly goes in the little donut hole, and then relax again. And enjoy the sound of your breath and the release in your body. And then, not fast, slowly walk yourself back up. Remove the block. And then I like to go sideways on my mat so that my heels aren't on the floor, because that kind of hurts. And perhaps you take that block again and keep it by you to rest your head. So legs outstretched wide, and then fold at the hips, slowly round. If you need the block, put it underneath your forehead. Let your neck get soft. Let the shoulders get soft. Relax your ankles, no flexing in your feet. Just getting heavy. Feeling the weight in the bottom of your pelvis connecting with the earth. Opening up gently and breathing deep. And then as you're ready, walk yourself back up. Curl your body up, head comes up last. Swing your legs around and just come into a downward dog to transition. Tuck your toes under, your hips go up and back. Shoulders wide, your head dangles down, looking in between your feet. And then bring one leg forward. Bend your knee, bring the ankle towards the opposite wrist. Back leg is straight. Perhaps you bring a block or a bolster or pillow, something underneath your sit bone if that's more comfortable for you. If not, you can just remove it. I like to start kind of sitting up and feeling a gentle back bend in my back. Opens up my hips a little bit more. And then I walk forward, but you don't have to do that. It's okay if your hips swing a little bit out to the side. We're in the mode of letting go, not being overly focused on the posture, but more about how it feels in your body. So of course, if there's any sharp pains or you start to lose sensation in your feet, we want to back out a little bit. We don't want any numbness or tingling. We want a gentle ache, a gentle tension, pulling on the ligaments and the joints, just slowly opening them up. Focusing on the breath and that theme, surrender, surrender, surrender. And then slowly walk yourself back up. Extend your arms, weight into your hands, tuck your back toes under, and then swing your front leg back into a bent knee, downward facing dog. Feel the difference between each hip and each leg. You can do a little pedal, bending one knee and then the other. And then we're going to go to the opposite side. So bring the opposite knee and ankle forward. Grab that block or bolster if you need to. Untuck the toes. Come into it as slowly as you need. And remember, each side is different. So one side is not going to feel exactly the same as the other side, especially since we have one dominant foot and one dominant hip than the other one. Or maybe baby is laying more on your left side than your right side or something like that. So breathe into the belly. Breathe into your hips. Notice how you can inhale so deeply and fully that the bones seem to come away from each other. You make so much space in your body, and you can direct that space into your lower pelvis, into the belly, behind the heart, anywhere that you feel like you might need it. Fall in love with the sound of your breath. Let it take you to a deep place where all the other noise and sounds that are coming from outside of you get muted, and you can find a place of stillness and surrender and calm. And then extend your arms, push yourself up. This time we're just going to roll onto the outside of our hip, bring our knees in, come to a tabletop position, and then bring your knees to touch and your heels and toes, your big toes to touch. Curl all 10 toes underneath and then come to sit on your heels. This can be a little bit intense for some of us, but it's just 10 breaths. We can do it. And it's especially good since when we're pregnant, a lot of people experience tingling and paresthesias, numbness, because all the blood is going to your uterus and often it's not going to our limbs. So this is a great posture to do for your feet, especially if you're getting cramping or any type of weird sensations at night. You got this. Just deep in breaths. Full exhalation. Inhale and exhale. One last deep, full inhale. And exhale. Slowly come off your heels. Point your toes back behind you. Sit back on your heels and stretch the tops of your feet. Now we're going to come into a Virasana. So some of you can sit in between your heels with your knees together and your butt all the way on the ground. Some are going to need a block, and I'm going to show you this variation. And then I have a third variation that I will show if none of these work for you. So if you're on the block, you're just going to walk your hands back behind you. Keep your knees and the tops of your feet planted on the ground. Maybe your head goes back. If you don't want to be on the block, you can sit in between your heels. Maybe you can walk all the way back to your elbows or all the way back to the top of your head and shoulders and relax like this. This doesn't feel good for every pregnant woman, so you're going to have to pay attention to what feels good in your body. And then we have the third option, the option that I'm going to be demonstrating. It's a half Virasana. So one knee is bent up with your foot planted on the floor, and the other one is in that posture with your top of your foot and your knee and your hip on the ground. And this should feel like a really deep stretch into the hip flexor of that bent bottom knee. And don't worry if you're doing a pose that's uneven on both sides, I'll tell you when to switch. And then if you're doing one that has both knees at the same time, you're just going to hold it for the duration. And if at any point it's too long for you, the holds, you can just come up and bring yourself back into a child's pose or into a comfortable seat. And then if you're doing something that requires you to switch sides, you're just going to slowly push yourself up onto your elbows and your wrists. Your head can come up last. And then you're just going to switch it out, bending the opposite knee up and the opposite knee down with the foot, the top of the foot planted on the earth. And if you're not coming all the way down, that's okay. Both sides are different. Like I said before, we have one tight hip usually and one looser hip. So just go where it feels good for you and focus back into the breath, this time with a gentle back bend as well. I don't know about you, but my baby loves to kick in back bends. Just wakes him up. And then you want to do this part carefully again. Push into the floor, into the mat. Gently bring yourself back up to a seat. And then scoot your hips forward. Lay down on your back for a moment. Bring your heels in towards your hips. And then grab a block or your soup pod or your bolster or whatever it is. Preferably something with more firmness. And we're just going to place it on our sacrum, that triangle, stable bone behind our hips. And you're going to find the height that works for you. I have mine on the medium height of the block. My shoulders are in a place that's comfortable for me. They're close together. The back of my head, but not my neck, is on the ground. And it's okay if your knees want to fall in or fall out. Feel that the weight of your body pushes into your sacrum and so gently opens up the back of your pelvis and the front at the same time. Breathe into the belly and then find as much relaxation as possible. And then push into your heels. We're going to slowly come off the block. Let your hips rest onto the mat. And then walk your feet mat width apart. And then let your knees fall to one side. Maybe your arms flop out to the side. Maybe one heel comes on top of your opposite knee. Whatever feels good to you, whatever twist that's gentle and open feels good to you. Remember, we don't want to squish the baby. We want to make as much space as possible. You should feel a gentle opening on the side of your body, getting it very close to our Shavasana. And then we're going to slowly raise our knees up and then just let them fall to the opposite side of the mat. Not worrying about your shoulders or your hips being stuck to the ground. Just find a spot that feels good for you, where you feel a little bit of a stretch on the side of your body, maybe a little stretch in your hips at the same time. And let yourself get gooey and heavy and melt into the floor. Now we're going to make our way into our final pose, Shavasana, but I'm going to show you a few options. You pick which is good for you. So you can either lie flat like I just did with your legs outstretched, or you can curl up into a fetal position, laying on whatever side feels most comfortable for you. Or this third option, which is my favorite, if you have two blocks or two different height soup block, soup pots, soup block, you're going to place one the medium height and then one the highest height. The medium height one goes right where your bra strap goes, right underneath your shoulder blades, and then the taller height one goes right on your occiput, right on the bone on the back of your skull. And then your shoulders should get heavy. It should really open up your chest. I'm in a Baddha Konasana because I find that it feels better on my sacrum, but you can extend your legs straight as well. So you have options. You can extend your legs straight and lay flat on your back for the normal Shavasana, curl onto your side in a fetal position, or come into this supported fish posture. course, you're welcome to stay here as long as you like. But if you're ready, you're going to come back into your body and slowly roll off the blocks if you're up on the blocks. And just rest in fetal pose for a little bit before you decide to get up and start your day or end your day. So like I said, stay in Shavasana as long as you like. I really appreciate that you chose to practice with me, and I wish you a happy, healthy, comfortable, and gentle birth. Namaste.